Order, order, order. Order. I'm going to call Andrew Bailey.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, it's been a fascinating debate, and gee, I've got to say there's been some weird and wonderful things said, but what I thought I might just concentrate on for a moment is talk about some of the good stuff. So I just thought I'd just do a little quick whip through, just for you, Mr Clark. First of all, 3 years ago we had an $18.4 billion deficit. Through the good work of the Minister of Finance, we've turned that into a $500 million surplus last year, and of course we're hoping for a surplus this year, having recorded a $900 million surplus at the end of January this year. Secondly, we had growth rate of 2.3% last year, and we're forecasting, well actually the Treasury is forecasting growth rate over the next 3 years of about 2.7%. Most economies around the world would love to have growth rates like that. By running surpluses, Mr Speaker, means that we will be able to increase spending in those crucial areas like health, like education, like security. And of course, it does mean that we can repay debt. And of course, many people don't do the work on debt. They think New Zealand has a relatively high rate of debt, which is, of course, totally incorrect. At the moment, our debt to GDP is 25.2%, which is a very modest figure, even compared to Australia, but certainly miles below what rates are in America and in England and Europe. Anyway, we are aiming to get it to 20% by 2020. And what I like, sir, is that we continue to invest through this extra money we're generating into health care. So last year we put in another $400 million to take it to $15.9 billion, our biggest vote item in our budget. Then we put in another $300 million into education, taking that to $10.8 billion. Lots more money into the important things that count. And we're seeing also how this is flowing through into the economy, how businesses, how people working in jobs are benefiting. So we're seeing manufacturing having recorded its 41st month increase in confidence and growth. And we're also seeing the services sector, which unfortunately this opposition never seemed to focus on, and by the way accounts for just under 70% of our economy, is growing at the strongest rate in the last 7 years. And so what is also meaning, coming down to the people working, like all of us, wage growth rate last year went up by 3.1%.
How much?
3.1%. Wages increased by 3.1%, even though we had inflation of only 0.1%. So wage earners are benefiting, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be, Mr Speaker, because they're the hard-working people of New Zealand. Now, one of the things I like to just remind ourselves is how do we continue to grow the economy? And Mr Speaker, I'd say to you, the TPPA is an important ingredient. And of course, we've got an opposition that's vehemently opposed to it, even though, and they know in their hearts of hearts, that it is a great thing for New Zealand, because what it does, it creates an immediate gain to all our businesses, our hard-working businesses, accessing 42% of all the markets and people of the world, and by reducing tariffs. So it doesn't mean any additional costs to export to somewhere like America if we're successful in getting TPPA. What it means is that those companies that choose to redivert their exports to those markets, they will immediately benefit from it. And Mr Speaker, I think these are the type of critical things that will help move New Zealand even faster forward than it currently is. And I've got to say it's been a pretty good road to hoe up today. Thank you very much, Mr Speaker.
The Honourable